Hello, everyone. Happy Women History Month to all of us. And as we celebrate this incredible month, I've been meeting with a lot of women who are leaders and who have carved their own path of giving back to communities and empowering and educating other women. Today, I'm very honored to meet Terri, founder of DiepCFoundation. And I want to introduce her from my heart. When I was going through pretty harsh breast cancer treatments, I had SMX. I went through many rounds of chemotherapy and radiation, and I was physically and mentally exhausted. And I didn't know how I'm gonna regain myself back, reclaim my self-esteem and come back to normalcy. At that time, I heard about deep flap surgery. And I was asked to join the support group. And that's when I came to know about Terri. From that point onwards, I would say that my life changed for the better. And this surgery was a gift for me. After all that I had went through, the surgery was a gift and it put me back on the path to healing and reclaiming myself and made me even more stronger. I had this new profound love for myself and my body after I went through this whole journey. So I'm really honored to have Terri, who have created this foundation and the support group for women like me. Thank you, Terri, for being um, part of the Women History Month celebrations and giving us your valuable time to share your journey with us.
Well, Abby, I have to tell you, it is such an honor for me. And I was so pleased to be able to meet you in person last week. We serve a rather large community at DiepCFoundation. It has become a global community, as you know, you've watched it grow. But when I get to meet patients and people in person that the foundation has been able to serve and help, it is just really a true bonus for me. So it was lovely to meet you last week. And thank you for the lovely introduction and for inviting me today. I'm very, very pleased to be here.
Thank you. And you are a breast cancer survivor, in fact, twice.
Correct.
The treatments are very complex and
Mhm.
exhausting.
Mhm.
I mean, I've heard, people going through the treatments and I've empathized with them, but until I was going through it myself, I didn't understand everything.
Yeah.
So just the nature of it is very complex and exhausting and very challenging to go through. So I want to hear from you. How did you overcome these challenges, and what made you open up your story to the world and and help others?
Yeah, a lot of what you said, Abby, through going through treatment and everything resonates with me. It's not easy. But I'm going to focus, based on your question you just asked me, I'm going to focus on the two words that you said, help others. I think in life, we are a collection of how we were raised, who we meet in our lives, the experiences that we have in our lives, what we choose in our professional career. All of those combined, I think, uh, kind of sets our path in life and what we're going to do. But the skills we build along the way help us adapt as we need to in life, because certainly we're thrown challenges like you and I were to, pivot and adjust. Uh, we've both had breast cancer, so we know what that's like to have to change. Professionally, well, I want to back up just a minute. I want to add to this that, throughout my life, when I was growing up, my parents mirrored through example helping others. And that could have been, I watched my mom volunteer at school. I watched my dad volunteer and serve on various boards. I watched them as they helped family and friends who were in need if they were sick or for whatever reason. So that influenced me as I was growing up to, I think, open the foundation and open up about my story. Also, I think my professional choice in life, to choose to go into education, I chose to be an ESL trained educator, which is an English as a second language educator. And I think I've realized through life how empowering education is. So I began writing my story, and what I realized is the lack of education that was out there. And I think that's really what has kept me going through this entire process and journey, as I call it, to keep sharing my story. And what I realized, Abby, is I'm one of thousands of stories. And so it's those other stories every day, I think, that are the inspiration to keep going, sharing, but in others like yourself to share theirs. I feel like it's so empowering.
I truly agree. Because until I got diagnosed myself, I wasn't having a lot of awareness or education around this. So um, I can truly reflect on what you just said.
Yeah.
And about the deep flap, my surgeons, um, when I was going through treatments, didn't tell me about this wonderful surgery. Of course, it's a new technique or technology, but I wasn't um, made aware of this surgery when I was going through the initial phase of the treatments. And I had to find it through an acquaintance about the surgery. And then I started learning more about it. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of curious to know how you made your decision about deep flap.
Yeah, really great question. And Abby, in the scope of science and surgery and technology, DFLAP is, you might consider it relatively new, but it really started in the late 1990s. And when you think about that and the time that has passed, the hope is more people are doing it. More surgeons have chosen that profession, that specialty of plastic surgery, and that access is more available for people that are facing breast cancer, but it's just not the case. Now, in your instance, you said that your initial healthcare team didn't know about deep flap, and you've since found it after that. For me, I think this is part of the fortune that I've been dealt and why I feel like it's important for me to do this work. It really began with my breast surgeon, and she was a very well-connected woman in her professional scope with her colleagues. I'm still friends with her today. I consider her a very good friend and someone who made a big impact on my life. She gave me all of my options. The day that I walked into her office and found out that my best treatment was going to be a double mastectomy after my second diagnosis, I had absolutely no knowledge of any type of reconstruction. But she sat there that day and she told me about implants. She told me about autologous tissue. And honestly, because it's such a personal choice, I went home and read all of the information she gave me. But because I'm a bit of a purist, I wanted to use my own tissue. And the fact I could do that, and the more I started reading about it, I was absolutely just gobsmacked. I use that word a lot when I talk about it, but I was gobsmacked by this exquisite and detailed surgery. So it was through her that I learned about all of this. And because of my personal choice, wanting to use my own tissue and not have any foreign objects in my body, it's not the same for everybody, but that's why I chose Deep Flap. And that's how I found out about it.
Awesome. And without the Deep Flap support group, I could not have learned more about this whole procedure. So
Mm,
when I joined the support group, um, I started posting questions, and in fact, a few survivors were very kind enough to get on the phone call and they walked me through their entire journey.
yeah.
I kept asking them many questions, and they were so patient to help answer. Um, and they empowered me with the information to make the decision to go for Deep Flap.
Oh,
Um,
good.
and I'm really thankful. And I know you started the support group. It has women from all across the globe. I am one of the people that got benefited from the support group. I would like to really know from you, after you did your surgery, what motivated you to start the group?
Yeah, the DiepCFoundation Breast Reconstruction After Mastectomy private Facebook group on uh, Facebook really started before I opened the foundation.
Mm.
I began my blog in 2015, and then because I realized the benefit and power of social media, if it's done properly, if it's done in a supportive manner, if it's done in an evidence-based manner, I thought, I think I can add a Facebook group to enhance this story that I began telling. So the blog came first and the Facebook group came next. And it started out with just, you know, a very small group of citizens from the US. But really, Abby, I think I had a great desire, and I know you can speak to this. I had a really great desire to set myself apart from other Facebook groups. So I invited not only patients to be on that group, I invited surgeons, other healthcare professionals, caregivers, because what I wanted to form based on my past experience, my breast cancer diagnosis, and just my keen interest in educating properly, I wanted to form a learning community. And that's why I wanted to set myself apart by not just inviting patients, but those who serve patients. Because I felt strongly at the time that we can all learn from each other. And now it's just amazing what's happened. And it's because of the need. I mean, now there's over 13.6 thousand global members. Again, not just patients, but surgeons, healthcare providers. We're all learning from each other. We listen, we watch, we support, and we learn from each other. So the Facebook group really began prior to me even opening the foundation.
And that's what is leading me to my next question about your foundation. I follow you on social media, your Instagram, your channels. There's a lot of advocacy work that you do as part of the foundation. Can you share your experience about the journey with the foundation, please?
Yeah. So, I think in life, Abby, no matter what we choose, if we make a new professional career, if we're thinking of a new idea, a lot of us have mentors in life. I had no idea that my mentor to start the foundation would be my own reconstructive surgeon. Um, I shouldn't be surprised by that though, because he's so patient focused. He's so focused on empowering patients with education. And I'd learned that about him over the year that I had opened the blog. So it should be no surprise to me. But what was a surprise to me is when he called me one day on his way home from work in February of 2016. And he said, Terri, I really feel like you should be opening a nonprofit foundation, and I'm encouraging you to do that to support this work that you're doing. Well, the accolades that he gave me almost brought me to tears, but I had to take a step back and think about this long and hard. And so all I could tell him that day was, all right, I'll give it some thought. So from there, I spoke to our oldest son about it, who's in marketing, and I just ran the thought by him. And he looked at me, and I have never forgotten these words to this day. He looked at me and he said, Mom, own your worth. Because what started out as a cathartic experience writing a blog and sharing my story now was going to change into something different. I had to open a business and run a business. I had to put my hand out to ask for support, not only volunteer support, but monetary support. That was very odd to me at the beginning. But his words, own your worth, made such a difference to me. And the invitation from Dr. Crisopolo, my plastic surgeon, to open this foundation were transformative. Because, my son said, Mom, people, not everybody wants to do what you're doing. They don't want to run a business. They don't want to, find this support, but they're going to want to help you because they believe in your mission. They believe in your cause. So that was very transformative for me. And again, I ask for help from friends. And a wonderful friend of mine in our neighborhood who had sat on nonprofit boards, she said, Terri, I'll help you. So she walked me through all the massive amounts of paperwork that it takes to form a nonprofit foundation in the United States through the IRS. I asked for help. And in 2016, the summer of 2016, DiepCFoundation was granted, their we were established by the IRS as a 501c3 nonprofit, and haven't looked back since.
Thank you. That's very impressive. One of my friend also mentioned something similar. She said, "Turn your pain into power," and that
Yeah.
was, very transforming for me. Like how your son mentioned on your worth. They're very powerful and transformative. And thank you so much for all the work that you do in your community. And like I said, I'm one of the beneficiaries, right? Who's now having a renewed life because of this surgery.
And I have to say, Abby, it's so beautiful to see that. It's so beautiful, just the things that you've shared on social media and personally with me. It's lovely to see that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I would like to know your thoughts or takeaways for other women as we celebrate the Women History Month.
Of course. I I really feel it's kind of a worn out phrase, but I think it's so true. Find your passion. I think you have to find your passion. And honestly, Abby, that can take the form of things other than breast cancer. Find your passion and, um, start something, begin small, and find that trusted tribe that's going to help support you. And during Women's History Month, I certainly want to celebrate the women who surround themselves and have surrounded me with support throughout these years that I've had the foundation and have gone through this transformative professional change from being an educator of people to an educator of breast cancer patients. Um, be prepared to ask for help above all. I think that If you also set your compass with honesty, integrity, it's what I was taught as I was growing up. Also do it in an ethical manner. Um, I just feel that it's very important for women to know that what they are capable of and to follow through on it. So there's so many unmet needs in our world, like I said, outside of breast cancer. Find out what that is, ask for help. Um, and if you don't answer the call, Abby, if you don't follow your passion, no matter how challenging it is, you don't want to look back on your life and wonder if you could have done something. Instead, you want to look back on what you have done.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Um, and it was honestly an awakening call for me too after going through this cancer journey, finding my passion and purpose. Um, and and my life was never the same again. In a way, everything that has happened, I think of it as a gift for another level of transformation. And your words inspire us even more. Thank you so much. I really appreciate, all the um, uh, knowledge that you have been sharing with all the women, not just in the support group and the advocacy, but now through this channel as well. I'm pretty sure a lot of women will get benefited through this. So I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your time today.
Abby, you are so welcome. And thank you for being a channel for other women. Look at what you're doing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And before we close out, I just want to request every woman to stay vigilant. Um, only 10 to 15% of breast cancer is genetics or hereditary. Anybody can get it, which is why it's so important to make sure you're having your regular mammograms. They begin at 40, but you can have them earlier if you find something suspicious. Talk to your physician. I found mine through my self examination at 39 before I was even due for my regular mammogram. So stay vigilant, do your routine self-examination, talk to your physician. And again, like Terri mentioned here, education is empowerment. So we need to make sure we are learning about what's happening and what are the new treatment options available. So we are empowered.
That's a great call to action. I can't think of a better way to end.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Uh-huh. Bye-bye.